As we close out Human Trafficking Awareness Month, it is critical to center the people most impacted by the systems we claim are meant to protect them. Over the past 3 weeks, we traced how trafficking stings drain law enforcement budgets, strain courts, and feed a nonprofit rescue economy. This week, we arrive at the heart of the issue, the human cost. We follow what a sting means for the person arrested, the fees, the records, the instability, the trauma, and the long-term consequences that never appear in a government press release. The human toll, what a sting costs the person arrested. Over the course of this series, we have followed the money behind a so-called human trafficking sting from the beginning. In week 1, we outlined the law enforcement costs, the overtime, surveillance, task forces, and public relations budgets that initiate the operation. In week 2, we examined the criminal justice costs, the prosecutors, courts, probation departments, and diversion programs that inherit the bill. In week 3, we exposed the nonprofit rescue economy, the institutions that profit from carceral solutions, often without providing real care. Now, in the final and most important part of the series, we turn to what a sting costs the person arrested and the people who love them. While institutions absorb public money, individuals absorb the consequences, and the cost is devastating. Immediate financial fallout before a court date is even set. Getting arrested is not just traumatic, it is financially destabilizing. Within hours, a person may face bail costs ranging from a few $100s to several $1,000s, towing and impound fees for their vehicle, lost wages from missed shifts, or sudden job termination, emergency childcare arrangements, or immediate housing needs if they are evicted or displaced. For many people, especially those doing sex work to survive, even a $300 fee can spiral into homelessness. Stings are often carried out at workplaces, hotels, or homes, meaning the arrest becomes public knowledge instantly. The humiliation alone can cost a person their community, their employment, or their safety. Long-term costs, the record that follows. Even when charges are minor or eventually dropped, an arrest record creates barriers that last for years. Public housing programs routinely deny people with prostitution or drug-related charges, and private landlords often treat even dismissed cases as red flags. Employers, especially in service, healthcare, childcare, and hospitality, frequently terminate workers after an arrest, and future job applications may require disclosure regardless of conviction. Educational opportunities are also jeopardized, as financial aid, scholarships, and campus housing can be denied based on arrest history. Parents, particularly mothers, face scrutiny from family courts and child protective services, where a prostitution arrest may become grounds for supervised visitation or loss of custody. The truth is simple: the punishment does not end when the charges do. Court costs, fines, and probation fees. Court involvement brings a cascade of additional financial obligations. A single sting can saddle someone with court fees, public defender reimbursement, diversion program fees, probation supervision costs, mandated therapy or classes, drug testing, and required participation in so-called John School or trafficking survivor programs. These interventions are marketed as alternatives to incarceration, but in practice, they are pay-to-play systems that punish poverty. If you cannot afford the fines, your probation is extended. If you cannot afford probation, you get arrested again. A sting creates its own self-funding punishment cycle. Emotional and psychological costs. Beyond the financial fallout, the emotional and psychological costs are profound. Experiences of armed officers, handcuffs, and strip searches can trigger or compound trauma, particularly for people who already face violence or exploitation. Media mugshots amplify shame, isolation, and community stigma. Distrust of institutions deepens, especially for those already marginalized by poverty, race, or gender identity. For survivors of violence, including trafficking survivors, a police raid does not feel like rescue, it feels like betrayal. The family ripple effect. The harm radiates far beyond the individual. Children experience the sudden loss of a caregiver, instability in schooling and housing, and the trauma of seeing a parent arrested. Partners lose shared income, take on legal obligations, and often face social isolation. Aging parents may shoulder the burden of bail, legal support, and emotional stress. One arrest can push an entire household into generational poverty, a cost never reflected in police budgets. The opportunity cost nobody calculates? The opportunity cost is staggering. Imagine if the money spent arresting a single sex worker were instead invested in safe housing, trauma counseling, transportation, childcare, emergency cash assistance, harm reduction supplies, community based violence prevention, peer led mentorship, or reentry support. These interventions demonstrably improve safety. Raids only worsen instability. Yet cities continue choosing the expensive, ineffective option. People pay the price, not the system. While police, prosecutors, courts, and nonprofits all receive funding for their roles in the sting pipeline, the person arrested loses everything: their job, their home, their community, their children, their financial stability, their autonomy, their safety, and often their freedom. The human cost is incalculable, and yet it is the most consequential part of the sting economy. Why this matters? A sting is not just a moment in time, it is a catalyst for long term harm. While law enforcement counts arrests and nonprofits count so called rescued victims, individuals and families count the cost in lost opportunities, shattered stability, and deepened vulnerability. If the goal is to reduce exploitation, we must stop investing in punishment and start investing in people. Criminalization destroys stability. Support creates safety. Arrests do not prevent exploitation. Resources do. If cities want to improve outcomes for people in the sex trade, the solution is simple: stop funding raids, start funding rights.